All right, so our next assessment is going to be our sideline H&I test. You would proceed with this after you concluded your standing H&I assessment, and that would tell you that you were restricted into a given quadrant. So this one would help you restrict which segment the restriction was coming from. In our case, this patient, I thought from the standing test, was limited into extension and left side bending, so I've had him lay on the right so I can isolate out that quadrant. So what you're going to do is you'll have both an H and an I test. So first we're going to go ahead and do the I portion of the test, where you'll lock them out into extension from below. So what I'll do is I'll find my target segment. Let's say I was starting at L1, L2. And what I'm going to do is, using the legs and knees, I can kind of tighten up the hip flexors here and bring them into lumbar extension up to my target segment. First I can remove side bending from the equation by having you straighten out this bottom leg for me and reach towards the end of the plinth. Very good. Go ahead and just relax there. And then I can go ahead and bring his spine into extension up to the segment I'm targeting. So we'll go ahead and have him relax there. And next I can use rotation for the I portion of my test. So I've got him in extension. I'll use my arm interlocking technique. Nice and close to the patient here. And you're going to move them into the restricted segment using rotation. Feeling for a barrier, and you can compare that with adjacent segments by extending into the target segment. You got to flex a little bit more, extend into that segment, and using rotation with your arm interlock. To do the H portion of the test, we can go ahead and do our locking from above and using flexion extension from the lower extremity to do our assessment. So all I'll do for this is I'll use an arm locking technique. You don't have any shoulder problems?
Nope.
I would have screened that out prior to pulling on his arm like this. And what I will do is I'm going to rotate him into the target segment. So right about there. And then I'll have you go ahead and bend this arm, put it behind your head for me. And so I've got him rotated into that L1, L2 segment I wanted to test. And then using the leg position and extension, I can test through the H portion of the test. And I can bias that to each segment if I wanted, using the rotation lock from above. That's the side lying H&I test.